All right, so now we have the capability of logging in with an existing user. And once we log in, notice that we did have a link that will allow us to navigate to the list of websites for that particular user. Right? Now, these users, these websites are being hosted in the website service, right? That is in the client, right? That also needs to be modified and moved over to the server, right? So I'll get you started with being able to retrieve the list of websites, right? But certainly you should be able to extrapolate from what we've done for the user and for the websites, extrapolate to implement all the other relationships. Okay. All right. So let's see. So this in particular is this particular call, right? Is as the nomenclature for in RESTful APIs says. This says that I am retrieving all the websites. Why all the websites? Well, because I'm not giving you a particular ID, right? But it actually is not entirely all the websites. I know it's a collection of websites, right? Right, that one, those 3 websites. But I know there's more than just these 3, right? There's the all the websites, right? But it's within the context of this particular user. See that? So this kind of illustrates that there is a hierarchical relationship here, right? That there's a hierarchy of several nested entities, right? Where you have an outer entity user, which a particular instance of those entities has a collection of websites that are children to this parent user. Make sense? Right? And that's what the RESTful API tries to capture, right? And indeed, that's what the homework asks you to do. That for the websites and the pages, right? For a particular website, for the list of websites, you would do something like this, right? You would create a particular website instance, and this would be the parent user for that website. Or if you're retrieving the list of websites for a particular user, this is the API that we use. If you're retrieving a particular website, you only need the ID of the website, right? So here's the entire collection of websites. You only want one of them, right? The one that has this ID. See that? All right. You don't need the context of the user because there is just one unique website, right? There's no need for the context of the user. Make sense? Right? There's only one website with that website ID, right? Regardless who the user is. Okay, makes sense? Same thing with put. You're manipulating that one website. There's only one of them, regardless who the parent is. And same thing when you remove, you only need the website ID. There's no need for the context of the user. Make sense? Okay. All right, so let's implement some of these. Let's implement this one right here. Being able to retrieve all the websites for a particular user. Yes? All right, so let's do that. So currently, that's being implemented. Let's see, we don't need these anymore. Let's look at the controller that retrieves those lists of websites. Yes? And the controller, I believe, lives right in website. There it is. So we have, here's the list. Here's a template. There it is. The one that iterates over all the websites. And here's a controller that goes along with that. It's this one right here. Right? That it's retrieving the user ID from the parameters, right, from the URL. And then is retrieving the find all website for user, passing the user ID as an argument. Yes? As a parameter. Correct? So we want to modify this and make this an asynchronous version of this. Right? So let's copy that. So the asynchronous version of this will look something like this. We'll move that. It's going to go out to the service. It's going to pass in the ID of the user, same thing as before. But it's going to receive a promise instead from the service, correct? Right? Oops. I'm not yelling. And here, it's going to receive the list of services, correct? In a function, it's going to receive websites right here, correct? And then we're going to update the template by passing it the websites from the service, from the server. Make sense? That's all you need to do. Everybody okay? Also notice that I've put all code, probably I didn't follow this for all the controls I've shown you today, but it is required in all your assignments, right? That any code that is meant to be executed at initialization time when the controller loads, right? It has to be explicitly included in an initialization function, right? Again, that's only a convention, right? But it makes it very, very explicit that this is the intention of the developer, right? That the intention is that this is the code that should run when this controller is initially instantiated. Make sense? Or typically you would run it maybe in a constructor as well, okay? If you're using ES6, right? All right, so there it is. Now, one more little thing to make this a little prettier, that make it easier to read. We're going to rip out this function, right, and make it a real function, and it'll be something like render websites, and implement it right here. Render websites. Okay, and I think we're done with the controller. We're done, right? What we need to modify is define all websites for users, right, which is currently using the local array, right? We need to instead have it go fetch the data from the server. And that's implemented, I guess wait, what? Find service client for the undergrad. Did we not implement it? Let's see, where's the services, website services? We did implement it, there it is. Oh, because we used the service as opposed to the object. That's why I wasn't finding it. So there, where is it? It's implemented here. There it is. This is what we want to implement, right? We want to move most of this code over to the server side. Yes, right. So we're going to try to go fetch this data from the server. The URL that we're going to use is what we suggest in the class. It's going to be API assignment. Right. So let's see. Let's grab it from the. It's this one right here, right? All right. So I'm going to paste it in there. So this would be fine for your assignment, but when you start having assignment and project and whatnot, you want to be able to distinguish between the two APIs, right? Because it's one server, it's only one server that's handling all these APIs, me too, right? I'm going to prepend assignment here because I might be working on a project, and also I'm holding two classes at the same time, so I'm going to distinguish between the two. There it is. We do have the user ID here, and I'm going to append it here. There it is. So now I have the URL to go fetch all the websites for this particular user ID. Make sense? And the URL would be something like the HTTP call would be to go get right at that URL. Right? And I don't believe we have get. We need to include it. Right? We need to inject that. There it is. We fetched it. Now that we have it, we're going to unwrap it. Right? So here's the raw response. Right? And what we're going to do is that we're going to unwrap it. Right? And then return it as a response, as an embedded response. There it is. Okay? Make sense? Right? The next thing would be to move this code over to the server side. Right, so let's do that. Right, let's move that. Let's cut that out of here. And we're going to put it in a new service on the server side, which we don't have. So let's create a brand new one. So we have JavaScript. This will be website.service.server.js. There it is. And I'm going to copy that content before I forget it. All right. And I'm going to include it here in my app.js before I forget. Okay, so this is website service. There it is. We included it. So here, what do we want to do? More or less the same thing we did for the users, right? What do we need here? We need to include the app, right? the app instance for the Express, right? So this is require, go up one, twice, Express, there it is. Okay. We also, what else we need here? We need the data, right? The data. So these are all the websites. So let me grab that as well. Okay. And now we need to listen for that incoming URL that's going to ask for all those websites. So this is the URL that we want to listen to on a GET, right? This is sending us a GET. So we're going to receive a GET. And that's the URL. There it is, right? Not as a string here, but as a parameter. There it is. And we're going to run a function called the same name. Implement it in a function of the same name. There it is, right? And request response. Yes? Okay? And this is going to be the code that we want in there. Okay? Right? Yes, we're going to, here's the result. We're going to iterate over all the websites. If the website is equal to user ID, where is user ID? It's a parameter, right? It's a path parameter, so it's in the request.params.userid. If it matches, this create, wait, what? This create. So let's not have this create here because presumably somebody already created it, and when we created it, we added the dates. Yes? So let's not put that here. Okay, there it is. So it's iterating, and it's pushing the websites that we find into an array, and we're going to return it, right? So instead of returning, we're going to respond, right, and send back a JSON array that contains all those results. Make sense? All right. So if we refresh the server and we go back here and refresh, we got it done, right? The first try, and it works. Really? So there it is. So that's the website URL that went out for user 456. And we get the URL. We get the those websites. So we replaced, right, the client-side implementation by a server-side implementation. Everyone okay? Make sense? Awesome.